Hello sewing friends, and welcome to my channel. This is Christa's Dress Shop. This channel is all about sewing, and especially bridal alterations and formal alterations. But no matter what kind of alterations you are doing, you probably at the end of the season have a bunch of scraps of everything you can imagine. Zippers, straps, buttons, beads. Maybe you have appliques everywhere and they're spilling out of drawers. They're spilling out of the side of your sewing machine. And what do you do with all of these things? How do you utilize these so in the height of your busy season, you can quickly access them to save you money and time? Let's talk about that in today's video. Let's just take it one item at a time, and let's start with some of the smaller items that are easier to handle. First of all, let's just do zippers, because I've got two zippers here that I pulled out of some dresses that wanted to be done into a lace-up. And so these are still good zippers. In fact, they work great. Make sure that if you're going to store them that they don't have any missing teeth and that they're nice and smooth. And then I make sure ahead of time that I go ahead and pick out the extra fabric, because when I want to use this, I want to grab it and go, and this will save you money. It may be a year or two or whenever that you're going to find a dress that's this exact color. But if I throw it away, then I'll have to buy a new one if I ran across that color. Of putting a replacement zipper in a dress or something like that. The ivory and the white ones are even better, because you know you're going to have to use those at one point if you're doing bridal. Once you've got it all kind of picked out, I love these little things that you can get at any fabric supply store or craft store. And I just have all of my extra zippers right in there, so that when I am in need of something, I will just come and grab from this bin, and I actually mark it as zippers. So that's simple, simple, simple. The other thing that you might run into, I know I had some in here, is boning. Now, sometimes you have to pull it out to replace it with something more firm, or you have to pull it out of an area to do an alteration, and maybe in that area you couldn't put it back in, whatever. I tend to have a few of these hanging around, and I'm wearing a sweater that's attaching to everything. But I always tend to have a few of these hanging around. So I have a bin that I have just marked boning, and regardless of how small or big, or sometimes it's my extra ones that I bought at the fabric store, I put them in there, because you never know when you're going to need it, and maybe you don't have time to run to the fabric store to get some. You always know you have it right here, and you can kind of improvise. Other things that you may be running across is you might have extra straps, maybe off of a dress. Maybe the girl didn't want it, the baggie of straps. Keep them. Don't throw them away. I was lucky enough to have a bridal store, and all of our sample gowns, we had to remove the little baggies of straps. But even if you didn't have a bridal store, often you will come across where the customer didn't want their straps. Instead of throwing them away, put them in a bin and save them for, maybe you will add spaghetti straps to a dress down the road. Maybe you will use them as loops for laces. Maybe you will use them, who knows what you'll end up doing. Put in the comments if you have other uses for some of this stuff. Okay, here's another tip. Have you ever had those clear bra straps from a bra that you were, maybe you bought it and it had removable bra straps? Don't throw those away. I keep them all in one area because I use them. My fabric fell on the ground. You know how you have the lace straps right here, and a lot of times lace or beaded straps on wedding gowns, and the bride's kind of like really uncomfortable, and you go to tighten it and she actually is miserable in it because it's itchy or just doesn't feel good because it cuts into you. Well, you can actually hand sew those clear straps on the back. You probably can't see it. A non-slip kind of softens the itchy texture and that helps a lot. I put a lot of those in. You can also buy the invisible elastic, you know, that's the same kind of stuff, and you can sew that into straps, and you will have a happy bride because she won't be so itchy and miserable. I love these plastic cups. You can get them just even at the dollar store, or they're just disposable and they're clear. I like to use them. Every once in a while I accidentally dump them. So if you have a better idea, please leave it down in the comments. But I tend to keep one cup and a paper plate next to my sewing machine. And as I'm working on a gown, disassembling the gown, and I have the beads, I'm actually putting them into the cup. And then as I'm taking off appliques off the dress, I put it on the plate. Now, until that dress goes home, I try to keep the appliques separated and the beadwork separated, because I don't know if I'm going to have to rebead or use some appliques to fix that gown. I got these bags, I think, at something like a store supply. There is a storesupply.com. There is Bridal Outlet. I don't think I got it at the bridaloutlet.com. I don't think I got these at Waywalk. How do you say Waywalk? Waywalk. I always see it written, but I never get to hear how people say it. Anyways, what I'll do is, if I've completed the alterations I'm going to complete before her next fitting, I will then take her appliques, and sometimes I'll put these in a baggie. If she's coming like that day, I might even just take the cup and just set it in there and hang that on her dress. And that will make sure that those appliques and those beads stay with her dress until her next fitting. So check out those bags. And then at the end, when I'm in the busy season, I wish I would just take that and then, bag it up and separate it, organize it. But no, I don't. I tend to keep taking all of the scraps and everything, and I'm shoving them to the side. And at the end of the season, I end up with a plate that is just one plate that's piled high with all the ones that I'm already done with. And I end up with a cup that is completely full. Or you can see how this cup has some loopholes for buttons. This has like a little pack that came with a mother's dress that I was working on. A lot of times I send those home, but for some reason some of them get forgotten, so I'll keep them if we forgot them. Even like a strap that I trimmed that I want to probably take all those beads off of. So stuff like that will end up in these cups. So then at the end of the season, or the end of when you're done with those dresses, I will separate all the appliques to one section, all the buttons to another section. Okay, buttons will end up, let me find, I know I had some buttons in here. I will find all my buttons from that season, couple months or whatever. I just had done this the other day, so I don't have a lot of them left. But you'll see some of them are decorative buttons that have no shank. I know Casablanca is one of the companies that does buttons like that. And then some of them have the buttons with the little shank. And then there are also plastic, or there's metal. There's all different kinds of fabric covered buttons. So I will then sort my buttons by color. And these particular one look like they have some tulle, but they have like a tulle covering. Others might have a satin covering. So whatever they have, I just kind of sort them out, and then I place them in little baggies. I'll tell you here in a little bit where I get my baggies. And so all the like ones, that one is not, I put in a baggie. Like such. And I have this box. You can pick any box. You can pick one of these big ones. I tend to have buttons in different areas, but even in here I have my button loops, if you notice. In the olden days when I worked on specific dresses for specific companies, like this is Casablanca, I had a larger Ziploc bag that I had all of the individual buttons in. And so this is Casa lace. I label it right there. And there's Casa tulle. I don't know if you can see that. Casa tulle. Here is some of their pearl buttons. These in particular are ones that they had put beads on. They even had crystal buttons on a lot of their dresses. So, looks like these ones I gotta separate. On these I didn't even bother separating them. This, the particular gal wanted to take off all the illusion back, and so I just cut it in a strip. But you know, someday those buttons I can use on something else, and I even have the button loop that goes with that. But I know for a fact that everything in this bag here are from Casablanca gowns. You don't have to get that detailed. It's just that I did a lot of work on Casablanca gowns. And then back in the day when Alfred Angelo was a thing, they're out of business now. That's a long story. I used to sell these gowns too. So I would have their AA, Alfred Angelo tulle in a certain color, and I would have those all there. But now, as of a couple days ago when I did some organizing, I just put, like this particular one came off of the same dress, and so I just put all of those in that container. If you really got time to sit maybe in front of TV, do a little Netflix surfing or binging, and you can actually go through all of your buttons and then reorganize them. I have done that. I at one point put all of the kind of teal or green in one bag, so if I am quickly needing something for a prom dress, I can quickly run and grab. I have all of the dark blue right in there. I have a bunch of gray ones. So yeah, just find a way, and now I got to reorganize that. But these are great things to do, like I said, when you're doing a binge on Netflix and you just need a break for the evening, to take it maybe to your house and sit and organize. We'll do appliques here in just a minute, so let me move those to the side. So you have all the scraps of fabric. What do you do with them? Especially if they're just like the hem of a dress. first of all, analyze, is it something that you can easily get at the fabric store? This particular one, I actually can go to Joann's and just pick up this fabric. This is very typical of what they've got, and I'm not real worried about it. I may save a little bit, but really this is just an oblong, strange piece from a hem, and so I'm gonna toss that. Figure out what you need. Now this one here, this is a really nice bridal satin, and it is from a hem. And this is a bridal satin that's a little thicker, and it's also one that comes on a lot of the wedding gowns that I have. And so sometimes you just need to make a strap for them. Sometimes you just need a little gusset. Sometimes you need just a little something of, you know, who knows. So the next thing I do is find out how I could utilize this. And I might cut at the seams. I just want to store it neatly. I don't want wads. Now I will show you, I do have one drawer where I just take all the little scraps, and just because they're maybe something I don't want to get rid of, and I just wad them up and I stick them in one drawer. But my other drawers I try to fold. And so I will try to, I don't want to cut that too much because you can make straps out of that. Let me see where I can cut it. I'm just going to cut it at the next seam. You could also make lace-ups if you have this long. So I don't want to cut that down because I might make that into like a lace. But I will find my best way to fold it. Put the inside there. I do like to cut off all this yuck here. Okay, and then I do have a drawer that has just, I know that there's no yardage in there, it's just bits and pieces. And then I try to stack them according to satins and the different colors of white, the different colors of ivory, and I just stack them. I've got both a drawer and I also have a cupboard that just has these stacked. And try to keep them close to other ones that are very close. This one here, a decision. Do I keep it? If I did keep it because, say, it was a really rare fabric that I always am having a hard time finding, I will even just in the littlest piece. Okay, tulle. A lot of tulle you can get at the fabric store, no problem. But there are bridal tulles that are so hard to find at the fabric store that are just really soft and nice. And see, this can actually be made into maybe the background of a strap with maybe some lace. So this one is very important. And this is where it gets all chaotic because you've got all this long, but I hate to throw this one away just because it tends to be one that I can't match this tulle at the fabric store. So I'm going to do my best. Ooh, it's long and crazy. I'm going to do my best. another tip when you have this stuff that will not stay in a nice pile, and you know as soon as you put it in the drawer it's going to be a mess. So you can take one of those straps that you just happen to have from a gown and just tie it up. And that helps keep it in your drawer nice and tidy. The other thing you can do is you can find ribbon really, really cheap. You can go find it even at the dollar store, and you can do kind of a little bundle of it. But the point is just keeping it together so that the next time you have an alteration that has that kind of fabric, you know, here's all the fabric that's like that. Okay, there's many different ways you can store fabric. You can do it in the drawers or the shelves like I showed you, or you know how fabric comes on some of these cardboard bins? You can actually ask your fabric store to give you some, or some of the cardboard bolts, and you can roll that up and keep your fabric nice and clean on that. I like to have it have a little space from the floor, so when I'm sitting this in a corner, the fabric isn't touching the floor. Those can just sit in your corner and kind of look kind of cute. The other thing you can do is, I used to have a company, Alfred Angelo, and they would send me their fabric in these big bags, and they have hooks. So if there's any way you can get a hold of a bag that has that and it has a snap. So I have all of the scraps of my white tulle in here. It's more of the stiff tulle. I have my, this is more beige, some ivory, and I have it in there, and I hang those up on my bars over there. I have little ones. But if you can't get yourself some bags that do that, if you can find like a heavy duty Ziploc bag, that's something you can do. And then you can buy these little clips at any, I think Waywalk would have these, but I'm not sure. But I do get these like at store supplies, stuff like that. They hang veils usually, or anything you want to do, but you can, I use these a lot. To maybe just hang something. Maybe this has a certain kind of lace that you're looking for. Maybe it has some fabric in it, some tulle. So those are many different ways you can store your fabric, either on a shelf, in a drawer, in a bag, specialty bags, on bolts, on rolls. So try to organize your fabric so that as soon as you need something, you know exactly where it's at. If you are looking for an ivory, and it's satin, you go straight to where all the ivory satin is. It's going to save you time and money in the long run. One of my favorite ways to hold fabric is this chest of drawers or armoire. I'm not sure if it's a buffet. I got it at my local Home Goods, and it wasn't very expensive, and it fit in this space perfectly. Okay, I've been working away at getting all of this excess stuff all cleaned up and organized, and I wanted to show you this. Sometimes you'll pull a panel out of a lace-up dress that you aren't needing the panel anymore. Maybe you put a zipper in it. Any little thing like a strap that has, can you see that? It has the little snap. So I always take the time to remove those. So you just take your seam ripper, and I keep them, if I've got both sides, I keep them snapped together. Let me see if I can show you that. So those cost money, and so I save all of them. Let me show you all the ones I have. This little drawer that's underneath my desk for my sewing machine. You can see all the appliques I'm still working on. I have in here little bins of the different types of hooks, hook and eyes, snaps, anything I pull off or extra pieces, and you can always use these. You will use them so much, so it's good to have them. And the ones from the factory are so good. I just found a piece of boning that I need to organize. Sometimes at the end of the season, my drawers are filled with parts and buttons and snaps and everything. So at the end of the season, I have one of these paper plates, or actually a few months, just kind of piled up with a bunch of appliques and with plans to get to them when I can. So the easiest way to do it is you just start sorting it out like I have over here. You just start pulling things out. Oh, this is actually lace fabric. So I just fold that. I do keep my lace fabric because you never know when you're going to have a dress that has that lace, especially in your particular area. The brides will be buying from some of the same companies. I know online it changes and stuff like that, but I know if people locally have bought a certain designer, I'll probably get that designer often. So I save the lace and I'll fold and put that in the drawer. I'll pull apart appliques and see if there's anything I can save on them. And I can always cut out things to use to patch down the road. This one's the same. And the other thing I do, a lot of times they're all on a hem, and so they have all the extra tools stuck to them. So I do kind of give them a quick trim so that they're nice and neat in my drawers. That was the same. Hopefully in a section of the pile you'll see a lot of the same ones because they came off the same dresses. So if you do this before you dump it into a drawer, this helps. If you can do this in between every couple months, that really helps. But I don't know about you, but in the height of our crazy season, I am just kind of doing one dress and getting to the next, and one dress and getting to the next. Luckily, I had already cut a bunch of these away from their tool, I think because I was placing them on a wedding dress. So those were lucky, because a lot of times it's just a long thing like this where you're like, okay, this was the hem and now what do I need to keep? So you have to make a decision. Do you think you'll see that dress again? If you throw it away, I know you will see it. I thought I saw this over there somewhere. Get as much junk off of it as you can, just to keep your drawers neat. It's a little easier to sort through them. Okay, let me keep sorting, and then I'll bring you back in and show you how I store them. once you have all of them kind of separated into your piles, it's best to put them in some sort of a bag before you put them into a drawer. That way they stay clean, and that is one good reason. But also it keeps them separate, and it's easy to thumb through that drawer and be looking at what styles and everything you have, and it all stays together. So anytime I'm a collector of bags, so if we get something in the mail and it comes in a large bag, I save it, because this particular bag fits these appliques perfect. But then I actually have a drawer that has all different types of bags in it. Like, I just keep every kind of bag you can imagine, because you never know when you're going to need one. And then my husband was actually ordering these for, he was in the service department at a facility, and they needed to put all their little screws and parts in little tiny bags. And so he bought them, and there were so many that he halved them with me, and I've had them for years here. But you can actually go to any store supply. You might be able to find stuff like this at Hobby Lobby or something like that. I'm not sure. But you can get all different kinds of little Ziploc bags. So for these, I love my buttons in these the most. But like these little tiny straps that I've cut off, I have a whole section over here. Sometimes I will just kind of steal the beads off of them and kind of take all the beads off. But like I was looking at these here, and they're all beautifully beaded. They hold together, and I thought, you know, when they have the low neck on some of these wedding gowns, if I was to secure the beads and then stitch these, because I had quite a few of them, across. So I'm going to save them, because you never know. I might run across that one wedding dress where she wants something like that. And so I will put them in these little bags. The other thing I love these little bags for is like individual appliques. So you can see all the big appliques that I have, but there's always these little tiny where there's just like a couple leaves. Now I've lost them, they're so small. Okay, I can't find them now. But you'll have just like a piece with just some leaves, and sometimes I just make a baggie of just the little individual leaves or the individual flowers if they don't match anything else. Here's one. I couldn't find which one that matched, so I just will make a baggie of little leaves, because sometimes, here they are, sometimes you run across where there is a hole in a veil, or a hole when they bring you the dress in a tulle skirt, and all you need is one little tiny leaf applique, because maybe the whole skirt is appliques. Now you can just steal an applique from another part of the dress, but I kind of have baggies of little tiny leaves, and I'll pull them out and I'll spread them out just to see if there happens to be that style of lace. So those are a great thing to put in my little baggies. Baggie of leaves. And when I see a mixed bag, I know that that's what that is. It's just a ton of leaves. But then if you don't have a nice bag, it's so easy to just use sandwich bags. So let's see, I've got sandwich size and storage size. You could also use gallon size for those big ones. That's another thing I'll do, is just take a group of them. Try to lay them as flat as possible, because later on you'll have to iron that out, but that's okay if some of them bend. but you just bag these up. Let out the air. Okay, and you just bag those up, and then I'll show you how I store them. So back over here, I have these containers that you can find at any craft store, and they just work out really, really well. And as you can see, my top drawers have like a lot of my little individual appliques that I don't really have a match for. But sometimes you just need that one piece. Ah, an extra bag. Yay. Oh, I've got some that are sitting free. Some of this is hem lace, some of it's appliques. I tried to have, this drawer is all hem lace. There's some more appliques. In fact, I can see these are similar to one over there. So it's probably time to combine, go through and combine all of them too. And this is more like lace by the yard. And that is, see, I even have which company. It would, if you know the company and style number of the dress, it's really good to list it too. Here's some by the yard lace from the different companies. Then on this side, I try to do my more colors or ones that were not as much bridal, maybe more costume. Some of this is still bridal, but here is a hem lace that a bride had me do on a dress. Looks like I need to do some cleaning. Okay, I've been moving along here and getting a lot done today, so it's been really good. But now to one of the hardest parts, or the most time-consuming parts, and that is all of these beads that you've got sitting in cups. Let me show you first what I have used to organize them. You can see them here. You can buy these little containers at any hobby store, and they basically have little squares, and so I have all of my beads kind of separated according to size, pretty much, I mean within reason, and color. So over here we have like a lot of my pearls. This actually was a game changer when I did this. And you can see some of them are yellowing just from the years of them, but I could swoop in there, and if I need to repair a dress, I can just find just about any bead that I need. And I do have to say, this looks like a lot of work, and it was. I happened to be lucky enough to have employees at the time that I fully got these all organized. For the first, I don't know how many years, I had all my appliques in boxes, bins. I had my my beadwork in baggies or little containers. So whenever it came to doing a repair to try to put back a dress, or a dress that needed something that maybe I didn't have the beads for, I either had to go through baggie after baggie after baggie, or container after container, and they were all mixed. So I would just be sitting there trying to thumb through what I needed. And this is so nice because even all of my pearls are in different sizes, and there's ivory and white. And then same with the silver seed beads. They all are by sizes and color, and I've got clear, iridescent, and this is a game changer for your bottom line, for you know, being able to quickly do an alteration. I also have some of them in these. I got this container that has like little, these are nice for the little bits, especially because if you spilled this whole thing, it wouldn't fall out. Whereas if you spill one of these, it's not pretty. I have all my colored ones in there. So what I do, and like I said, if you've got like a teenager you want to pay to do this, or a child that you want to pay to do this, you just pour them out into a plate. Now if you have an easier way, tell me. And then, so I'll just go and find all the pearls with the tweezers, and you're kind of matching this, the color and the size. And here's my tiny ones. After a while, you can just start choosing all the same one to put into there, and then go and then do the next same one, the next same one, this next same one, so you know what you're looking for. So that's an idea for you. I am not going to do this today because this is one of those projects that I like to do in the evenings when I'm done with work, or the weekend, and maybe it's snowy outside or raining and I can't do anything. I don't have any plans that weekend. I can just put some movies on and I can just sit and mindlessly be sorting these out. But if you can do this on a regular basis, you're going to have less work to do. But I tend to leave it all the way till the end of the year, just because I don't have a lot of time during the season. But it's a game changer in the midst of your bridal season. Not to mention, it's going to save you money, because all of these beads, if you had to buy them, are so expensive. If you have bought from a designer, just a little baggie, you call the designer and say, I need the beads for that dress. They send you the tiniest little baggie, and it's so expensive, and you don't even have what you need. So this makes it a lot easier. So tell me in the comments if any of these ideas will help you, if it's something you maybe hadn't thought about or hadn't done, or maybe you thought about it and just weren't motivated. Did I inspire you to get a little more organized before your crazy season or after your crazy season this year? Tell me in the comments. And also, if you have any ideas of how you do beadwork, appliques, fabric, all the little components like the snaps and the zippers, do you have a certain way that you store everything? Let me know in the comments. Thank you so much for joining me, and hope you have a wonderful day. Happy sewing, everyone. Love you.